Hi, this is Gail Kromenauer, State Employment Economist at the Oregon Employment Department. We've just released the long-term industry and occupational projections for Oregon from 2021 to 2031. I'm joined by our projections economist, Sarah Cunningham, who's going to start us off with the highlights.
There were 2.1 million jobs in Oregon in 2021. By 2031, we expect Oregon to add another 265,000 jobs. This is an increase of 13% and accounts for recovery from job losses due to the pandemic recession and expansion in the economy. The private sector is expected to gain roughly 240,000 jobs. Government will add 20,000 jobs, and 4,000 more Oregonians will be self-employed.
The 265,000 new jobs, those are expected to come from new or expanding businesses. What about existing jobs that need to be filled when, say, people retire?
Overall, we expect to see 2.5 million total job openings in Oregon by 2031. That includes the 265,000 new jobs. There will also be about 2.2 million total replacement openings where we need newly trained workers to fill openings left by workers who retire, otherwise leave the labor force, or make a major occupational change. Over the decade, 9 out of 10 projected job openings in Oregon will be due to replacement.
Now let's dig a little more into the details of where Oregon's expected to add those new jobs. Sarah, what sector or sectors do we expect to see the largest job gains?
All sectors in Oregon are expected to add jobs by 2031. Leisure and hospitality will grow by 34% and add roughly 60,000 jobs. That's the most of any sector statewide.
Does leisure and hospitality typically add the most jobs in Oregon over the long term?
Well, if you look at the projections prior to the pandemic recession, leisure and hospitality was the fourth fastest growing sector in the state. This time around, these large increases are mainly driven by recovery from the pandemic, and we already saw most of those gains happen in 2021 and 2022. We do expect leisure and hospitality to continue growing in future years, just at a slower pace than the early years of these projections. Private healthcare and social assistance has typically led long-term job growth in Oregon. It's expected to add almost 46,000 jobs by 2031. That's the second largest gain of any sector.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's driving that growth in healthcare?
Sure. Healthcare and social assistance is expected to grow by 17%. This growth is attributed to the aging of the population, longer life expectancies, and population growth over the long term.
Are there any other sectors that are expected to add large numbers of jobs?
We also expect to see job growth in trade, transportation, and utilities that will add 39,000 jobs over the next decade, and in professional and business services that will add 36,000 jobs.
Are any industries going to experience notable declines over the decade?
Well, some of the bigger losses are expected to occur for newspapers and book publishers, telecommunications, paper manufacturing, and business support services like call centers or travel agencies.
Now, if we turn and take a look at occupational projections, what types of jobs will grow the fastest in Oregon?
Well, because of recovery from big pandemic recession losses, many of the fastest growing occupations are associated with jobs in leisure and hospitality. In fact, 10 of the top 20 fastest are associated with the industry. In years prior to the pandemic recession, there was a higher concentration of healthcare jobs in this category.
What are some of the fastest growing healthcare occupations?
The fastest growing occupations associated with healthcare include nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, medical and health services managers, and massage therapists.
Are any occupations in Oregon expected to lose jobs?
Some occupations will see a decline in jobs. They include many office and administrative support occupations, such as executive and legal secretaries, data entry keyers, and administrative assistants. But it's really important to note that even though these occupations may lose some jobs, there will still be demand for them. There will still be replacement openings in these type of jobs due to replacing workers who retire, otherwise leave the workforce, or make major occupational changes.
The employment department also takes a look at education requirements when we're looking at projected job growth. What sort of education will projected jobs require?
3 out of 10 job openings in Oregon will typically require education or training beyond high school. To meet more competitive requirements for Oregon's jobs, more than half of openings will require education beyond high school. Occupations with the most projected job openings in Oregon that typically require a high school diploma or less include fast food workers, retail salespersons, cashiers, and stockers and order fillers.
That makes sense. Many of those occupations are in big industries that are expected to add many jobs. What about occupations that require a college degree?
Occupations with the most openings requiring at least a bachelor's degree vary from general and operations managers to registered nurses and project management specialists, software developers, and accountants.
Now, there's also a group of occupations, which do tend to be in high demand, that require something more than a high school degree, but less than a bachelor's degree. Which occupations in this category will have the most job openings in Oregon?
Well, when we look at those jobs that require a post-secondary certification or associate's degree that'll also be in high demand, those occupations include truck drivers, bookkeepers, and medical and nursing assistants.
Can you give us a look at how projected job growth rates differ in the different regions of the state?
Yeah, all areas of Oregon expect to see job opportunities due to both economic recovery and growth, and to replace workers leaving the labor force in the coming years. There are 2 regions projected to grow at rates faster than the statewide rate of 13%, and those are Central Oregon and the Portland Tri-County area, growing at 15% each over the decade. Areas with the slowest growth include Southwestern Oregon, projected to grow at 9%, and Eastern Oregon, which is projected to expand its employment by 5%.
Thank you, Sarah, so much for all of these insights. If someone is looking for more information about projected job growth in Oregon, where can they find the details?
Yeah, for more information on Oregon's employment projections, visit qualityinfo.org and visit our projections page.